keep asking questions, but no, this is really good. Thank you.
I want to talk about your reflection because I think that that's a really important piece.
Yeah.
Really quick. And it's something, so hold on. You guys just want me to come down? Okay, here we go. Okay. So
Get that one up. I gotta scroll down, don't I?
Yeah. So like you're kind of a classic case of like you're a very smart person. You're
Yep.
very organized, you're structured, you really like detail, you can connect the dots, especially when it comes from paper.
Mm-hmm.
The execution of it is really important. And to be very frank with you, I feel like it's going to be an extreme challenge for you to execute like B-level detail player actions with the players that I saw in the video.
Sure.
And like that, I think what you're doing in growing the game and how much you care about being a better coach and you're practicing it is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like most of the video, the time was spent teaching the players how to train or teaching them the activity, opposed to actually creating opportunities for them to learn about cues, space, time, pressure, in terms of combining to progress the ball forward.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's going to be a major challenge for you. The other piece is like the organizational part, which is something I think in terms of this video and this training session that was produced is a big part. Like training vests, right?
Yeah.
Game scenario. Like the game scenario wasn't produced based off of where the player started, the lack of opposition, not presenting like the game picture that you wanted to develop. Like it's
Can you
really
tell me more
hard.
about that? Tell me more about that.
So you were talking about overlapping, and then the way the kids were overlapping was inside. They were playing, right?
Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah. Or like I don't from the video, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because sometimes I don't see what's exactly going on. But like,
No, yeah.
I didn't see vest on the kids. I couldn't tell what team they were on.
Really? There were vests on the kids.
Blue, the second activity. There's all sorts of colored T-shirts. Like there's
I gotta look. Oh, I apologize. I thought we were good there. Let me go back and look at that. Okay, no, that's good to know.
But like, yeah, there's a.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying on the second activity. Yes, that would make sense.
Yeah, and so once we get those portions right, grid size, game picture, right, like headed in the right direction, like opposition, like we've got to create the game scenario. Once we get that part correct, then we can start to get into like your coaching interactions and like, but until then it's really difficult to get there from like, and I think on paper, you know, we got to clean up a few things. I think you can organize a session if you've got the game scenario right.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to be able to get your players in that spot, I'm not sure. I think it's going to be a pretty tough challenge.
Yeah, I got some work to do.
Well, it's not. I mean, I'm giving you like. I guess my big piece is like you're in a grassroots environment trying to execute B-level stuff.
Sure.
And I think that's going to be very difficult. And I want to support you in it. And I think from the paper textbook side of things and your ability to learn is extremely high.
Mm-hmm.
Like the gap we have to close in execution of the video part of it, like the implementation is pretty big at this point in time.
So what's the path forward?
Good question. So I think you really got to focus on making sure the organizational piece is right. Like it has to be right. And can you reflect on that get that correct, and then we can start heading into the other pieces. But the game scenario has got to be in more detail. You have to understand all the different, like, there's more than one way than the overlap, right? And I'm not sure the players were given the opportunity to learn and read all the cues. They learn the activities. Did they learn how to solve the problem of we keep losing the possession of the ball when the 2 has it? And why is that? How do we change it? Right?
That makes sense.
Like, I'm not sure that occurred. And that's the biggest thing. And that's where, like, the coaching piece comes in.
Yeah.
So I think if from the reflection piece of it, go back to the organization, go back to the game situation, make sure that those are, like, refined, and then just resubmit your reflection. And I gave you kind of those action steps. So anytime I give you feedback, I try to give you, like, the specific action that you want. But I know you're going to get going.
No. This is good, Ginger. This is good. And I think, you know, this helps, and this is clarity. I think the thing that I'm a little scratchy about right now, just being completely transparent, is, you know, eligibility requirements, right? Like, I'm signing up for a course that says, hey, you need a team that needs to be training 3 times a week. I've got that, right? Appropriate level for course content. It's like, okay, well, but, like, that's a pretty generic word, right? So, like, I want to make sure that the opportunity is there for those of us in this environment the same way it is for other folks, right? And I if it's not, I kind of need you to tell me.
I can visit with Matt. I mean, I'll be honest, I've had a conversation with Gareth because I want to make sure that we're setting you up for success. I do think if you just with watching the first 2 and I don't know, but I'm trying to phrase this, like, in a way, actually I have a lot of time and space for you, and I have a lot of time and space for your players, because I don't think education should be, this is the phrase I used with Garrett today. This isn't an elitist thing. Do you know what I mean? So I have time and space for all of this because I think it's important. I think your challenge in all of this is not teaching your players how to train or how to teach them how to do the activity. Your challenge in this is to create learning opportunities that are related to that game situation. And if you can, as a coach, clarify what that game situation is, and then create learning moments for them, that gap in where they're starting as players, we can move past that a little bit if you can show me clearly that the skill set you have is this level, even though you might be coaching a lower level of player or environment.
Right. I think that seems fair to me, right? That seems fair to me, right? So, you know, I hope, right? I think the feedback you're giving me is like, yeah, you get some work to do on the diagrams, but overall, like, right track on a lot of the paperwork stuff, right? The execution is where we need to talk about it. Is that fair?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So if that's the case, if I look at this and say, hey, 3A, pretty good, Bo, just to make some changes. You know, the first part of 3B, pretty good, just make some changes, right? The execution, a little ugly, right? Then I need to find a way to submit something to you that shows those type of things, right?
Yeah. The reflection piece is the key thing. Like, I don't need you to resubmit the video, like tweaking your cycle and stuff. Like, that's stuff that you should want to do to make your product better.
That's the whole point of being here. Yeah.
Right. Like, if you come back with some reflection of, here are the things to make this more organized and cleaner and bring out the game scenario, then I'm good to put this in satisfactory and move on in your development. Does that clarify you?
I'm good with that. I also don't, but I need to make sure that I'm not December you saying, hey, Bo, I know you did all this work, but I didn't see this. I need to make sure I'm having these conversations with you now. So that I'm getting, you know what I mean? And so maybe that just means I need to be direct through it, right? Because I don't want to, you get my point, right?
I'm being direct with you that your planning is fairly close. I think the game scenario and the language there's a gap there. You can close it because I think you can, like, you're intentional enough to be able to, there is a very big performance gap between your planning and your implementation.
Okay.
And like that will have to close. And what we're in week 5 and we have 15 weeks to get there.
Yeah.
I mean, if you feel confident, and I will continue to be here to support you. And this journey, like, but I'll say this, like, why is everyone's journey set to be like 6 months? You know what I mean?
Right.
So, like, we're here committed. You're going to get better. I can see you've already, like, you're invested into it. Like, that's the most important piece of it. And like, we can continue to make these formative assessments to help see you where you're at along in the process. Do you know what I mean? And I would say in some aspects, you're further along than some of our coaches who I'm working with. But your challenges are, you know, they're big, and you've identified them, which I think is a massive step. So, and I'm not going to tell any student coach, like, hey, yeah, you'll be good at the end of it.
Like, no. But everything you just said, Ginger, like, the words throughout the diagrams, like, I can fix. That's easy for me, right?
Yep.
The hey, like, try to find a way to show the game moment better, and absolutely. The pace thing, I'm a little struggling with, but I can fix that. Like, I could see it going there, but that's a presentation thing. But as long as there's an opportunity for me through this process, whether it's at the end of it to show you I'm doing it, or if it's something next year, right, as an extension, I'm good, right? The impression that I've gotten from some of the words used in some of the communications over the last couple months hasn't been that that's not the case. And some of this high performance language that I've seen from Matt or from you has concerned me a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially considering I don't see the word high performance in the eligibility requirements, right? And that's me being blunt, right? So I want to make sure that we're on the same page on that, right? Like, if we're good and you guys are going to have the opportunity here for me to continue to get better and to walk out of this at some point with the license, I'm happy. So.
Okay. Yep. We'll continue to work with it, and then follow up too. I'll make sure that I share those concerns with, like, that eligibility requirements and what that language is, and I'll share it with Matt, and then on to Nathan Hunt, who runs the B curriculum too.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks, Ginger. Appreciate it. See ya.
Bye.